a frequent guest on the Sunday morning talk shows and a guest this week in our studios, where she discussed the issues of the day with our own Jason Doyle.
Amy Walter, thanks a lot for joining us here at the OETA studios.
I am really happy to be here.
My first question, impeachment, with Democrats presenting two articles, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The House is poised to vote on them next week, and the effects will be felt here in Oklahoma. Impeachment puts Congresswoman Kendra Horn in the crosshairs as the only Democrat in Oklahoma's House delegation.
Well, we're kind of at the center of the universe here in Oklahoma City when it comes to impeachment politics. Obviously, you have a brand new freshman Congresswoman, Kendra Horn, who won a district really surprising almost all of us, a district that is traditionally Republican, that Trump carried. She's obviously getting a whole lot of pressure on this vote here. And I think what Republicans are hoping is that this vote for impeachment, if indeed she does cast it in favor of impeachment, that it labels her now as a partisan.
Walter says Horn was already a target simply because she won a traditionally Republican seat as a Democrat.
Look, I think even before this impeachment vote, Congresswoman Horn was going to be a top target for Republicans. There are about 30 other Democrats who won or who won in 2018. Either they're freshmen or they are, they've been in Congress a little while, who sit in districts that Trump carried. It just happens to be that very few of them sit in districts as red as the one that the Congresswoman sits in.
For Horn to retain the seat, she'll have to beat the Trump brand.
If you assume Trump maybe wins 54, 53% of the vote in the district, you as a Democrat with him on top of the ticket, you're going to have to outperform what the Democratic candidate for president will get. That's hard to do.
Impeachment is taking up a lion's share of attention, but Walter feels it might not play as big a role in next year's elections.
My feeling is, I just sort of think by the time we hit next year, especially by the time we hit next summer, that impeachment, the fact that we actually had an impeachment, that there were votes in the House, there was what is almost certain to be an acquittal in the Senate, will be, if not forgotten, it will just be part of the background noise like we've had for the entirety of this administration. There have been a lot of big events that have happened.
Walter points out that despite all of the rhetoric surrounding impeachment, President Trump has retained the support of his base.
It's remarkable, too, if you look at the president and his overall approval rating over the course of these last weeks of impeachment proceedings, hearings, and now ultimately a vote. Opinions of the president really haven't changed all that much, if any. So I do think people are sort of baked in and locked into their opinions of the president. And these sorts of events, even though they're consequential, an impeachment vote is a very big deal, it does not seem to have the consequential political outcome.
Next week, PBS will co-host the final Democratic presidential debate of the year. Walter believes fireworks are possible.
I think this one will be much more dynamic because really once this debate's over, we head into the holiday season. Then post New Year's, for many of these senators, they're going to be spending time in Washington at the impeachment hearing. So this is kind of that last moment, at least until we get into mid-January, for the candidates to really kind of define themselves. And I think we're going to see a much more aggressive stance by a lot of these candidates, either defending themselves or going after some of the other candidates' positions and policies.
Jason Doyle, the Oklahoma News Report.